Hey guys, thank you for tuning into my week 2 multimedia presentation where we take an in-depth look into the past readings. The 4 articles that I chose to hone into is Frank Goodnow's Politics and Administration, Max Weber's Bureaucracy, Leonard White's Introduction to the Study of Public Administration, and Mary Parker Follett's The Giving of Orders. As I'm giving this presentation, I've attached the page numbers, column numbers, as well as paragraphs under the sections that I'm talking about, so that way you guys can follow along with the book. Firstly, I'd like to speak about Frank Goodnow. He stated that there are distinct functions in the government, separated by politics and administration. Politics represent the expression of the state's will, whereas administration is the execution of that will. And he states that politics has a clear control over administration, and I believe this concept is fundamental in all levels of government. My job was actually created because of this concept, where the citizens of Hooper Valley were pushing city council to try to eliminate the food vending problem that was leading to a lot of food poisoning in the area. The city council actually listened to their ideas, they voted on this and created resources that created my position, as well as passed new legislation and ordinances that helps us confiscate unpermitted food vendors' equipment now. Next, I'd like to speak about Max Weber. He had 6 clear characteristics of bureaucracy that are really the pioneer of what we use, as well as it influences our structural organization, and it is a cornerstone of public administration theory. These 6 characteristics can be seen in our EOC responses during disasters. First off, the Director of Emergency Operations Center sets a hierarchy of authority as well as command. He creates 4 separate groups, so the Division of Labor. These groups are the Operations, Planning, Logistics, and Finance Coordination Center. These groups utilize rules and regulations that are established by SIMS as well as NEMS. The part where I think it falls off in today's society is that we don't have as impersonal relationships. Unfortunately, there is favoritism as well as people just need to coordinate with who they get along with in order to lead a proper response. However, all leaders do receive training and certifications, and they also have proven past performances to show that they are capable of leading. And after every single disaster, there is an after-action report that provides documentation and permanent records for future usage. Next up, with Leonard White, he believed that the Industrial Revolution created a huge disparity among classes, and this disparity really had the public pushing for a new concept of public administration. He suggested the better utilization of managing men as well as materials. Through efficient usage of resources, it helped reduce the cost of just running the government without necessarily increasing the production or profits that the government was making. A great example of this is Detroit filing for bankruptcy in 2013. The city imposed mass layoffs. They approved new budgets that restructured contracts. They cross-trained officials, and they really tried focusing on tackling projects of blight to lower the incurring costs of maintenance that the city was experiencing, which did lead to a rebound of the city's finances. Lastly, I'd like to talk about Mary Follett. She argued that your attitude really contextualizes the response of given orders. You don't know the previous lifelong habits that the workman has, and if you give orders incorrectly, it could prompt a really poor reaction that you can see on page 78, second column, third paragraph. She advocates for an integration of management as well as the workers. She wants to develop solutions based off the situation, not just the manager's ideas. Through this, you would be able to change the habit patterns of the workmen, and that would create a desire for them to give their all when working. This theory would work today. Unfortunately, I think laziness does play a big effort that no matter how much you work alongside somebody, they may not give their best effort. A great example is a fire chief found errors on his recruit's forms. He sat down with the recruit, he asked why his actions were taken, and then he worked with the recruit to research and find different ways in order to get a solution. Thank you guys for listening to my presentation. I look forward to reading all of your responses as well as interacting with your presentation.